Coach Mike McClure show. And Coach McClure, welcome back.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
I bet it is.
Good to be back after a week. We got one show in, I think, but we missed last week, so it's good to be back.
No, it is. It's great to have you back. And obviously, just to refresh with everyone, the Cavaliers, unfortunately, were thrown into the COVID protocol, which is happening here, there, and everywhere so far. They were put down. So we had our game back on September the 10th, was canceled. That was the game against Fairmont. And then, of course, our game, which we'll talk again later, but our game this past Friday, our opener for the Sand Hills 3A4A Conference against Richmond County has been moved to October the 12th, and we'll touch base on that again later. But, again, a break that you obviously didn't want to have, but one that unfortunately you faced. And how are things going since everything went
It's going good. Before the break, we had some guys. We were down in numbers. We got a lot of guys banged up, and before the break, nobody wants to take a break in the middle of the season unless it's the bye week, and to have to quarantine for COVID protocol and everything like that. We truly didn't want that. Because we all want to go and play football and practice football. But, after thinking on it and reflecting on it, it kind of was a help for us, and, a good thing for us, finding a positive in it. It was good that we, just take a step back and reflect on things, kind of look at it from a different perspective. We got guys back healthy now, so we got a full team back. Guys that were out due to concussions or due to injuries, we were able to get them back this week. And also just kind of, we started the season 0-3. It's kind of a step back to refresh and kind of, get on the winning side of things and just kind of move forward. The kids came back. I kind of knew that they would come back with a different type of level of excitement and appreciation just because it had been taken away from them for 2 weeks. And, even coaches coming back with a new outlook on things and positive perspective. So I think, everything happens for a reason, but everything comes together for the good. And I believe that us going into quarantine the 2 weeks wasn't ideal at first, but it definitely was something that we found some positive parts out of.
So again, having to be in the quarantine, we were chatting before the show that you guys couldn't practice, you couldn't even be together, and so it was almost like how you first started when they hired you, and then you got into the COVID before the spring season, having to basically hold practice through Zoom calls. I'm assuming is how it was.
Yeah, it was. Just staying in touch with the guys, making sure that they're staying on top of schoolwork, making sure that they're still getting out and doing something active. That was probably the biggest challenge is for us to come back and not lose all our game shape that we were slowly getting into, because we were getting in game shape. Around week 3, week 4 is when you normally start to get a feel for the game, and it starts to slow down for you. And to not do something for 10 days, you kind of lose all of that. But that was the biggest thing. But guys been coming back, flying around. But the true test we'll be able to tell on Friday. We've been trying to amp up practice a little bit and have them going, a little tempo, just to kind of get back in that game playing shape.
Yeah, you come back Monday for yesterday for your first practice, and you could tell who was working out, who wasn't by the first wind sprint you're running, probably, right?
Yeah, they were a little tired, more than I would like to see.
Yeah,
a little tired, but overall, they came out, like I said, with great energy. They were ready to go, fired up about it. Seniors looking forward to senior night, so it was good. In the negative, it was some positive out of it. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's good. So like you said, I mean, do you having to almost, I'm going to say start over, but it was kind of like regrouping from the beginning, like you mentioned. So do you go back and start for some of the drills, almost like introductory again, just to refresh the guys' memories?
We did. We had like an hour long of Indy yesterday, individual drills, just repping things, just going back, refreshing, repping all of our drills that we do, as far as, handoffs and catching and blocking assignments and those type of things. And we stayed in that period for a solid hour before we moved on to anything else, just to get them kind of back going. And in those drills, we were able to get conditioning in as well, with whatever drill the coach was working. So it helped us out.
That's good. And like you said, I guess one of the Cavs, come in and now coming into this week, they're 0-3. Went down to Westover in the beginning of game week 1, excuse me, and then came home to Green Hope, played a great game against Green Hope, even though we went down, and then had a little bit of a shaky start to the game against South Johnston, but still picked up some positives in that second half at South Johnston.
Yeah, like I say, it was an opportunity for us to step back and to things kind of go downhill on you quick when you start 0-3.
Yeah,
And and guys' spirits begin to damper and begin to be down and not looking forward to coming out as much. So
right.
The 2 weeks off, 10 days, helped us to get our spirit back up.
Sure. No, exactly. So I know the Cavs will be ready to go coming in this Friday night. We'll talk more about that after the break. So looking quickly at the Sandhills 3A 4A conference, as we all know, the Cavaliers have been off the last couple of weeks, but the conference got started off last week, and obviously the new conference this year. So the results from last week's game, of course, we mentioned Southern Lee will be at Richmond County now on October the 12th. That is a Tuesday, and that is during the bye week, the scheduled bye week. So that kind of works, I guess, to your advantage as well. Lee County 42, Union Pine 0, Scotland County 52, Hope County 6, and Pinecrest was idle. This coming Friday, of course, it's going to be the Cavaliers hosting Scotland County, and we'll talk a little bit more about that game later. Hope County will be at Lee County, Pinecrest at Richmond County, and Union Pines has the bye this week. And those are the action in your Sandhills 3A 4A conference. We'll be back after these messages to talk a little bit more with Coach Mike McClure and talk a little bit more about this week's opponent, Scotland County, right after these messages.
Coaches Show sponsors: Wilkinson Chevrolet, Domino's, Farm Bureau Tramway, Sheriff Tracy Carter, Fix It Plumbing, Jones Printing Company, Brick Capital Video.
Show. This is the time of the broadcast where we normally talk about our players of the game, and of course we haven't had a game for a couple weeks, so we're just going to revisit a couple things here from so far this season just to kind of refresh everyone's memory. As the players, as Coach was talking about, players getting used to practicing again this week, so we'll go ahead and just repeat some things here and let everybody know. Each week, myself and Austin Thomas, your radio crew for Southern Lee, will pick the WWGP and Norman Financial Group offensive and defensive players of the game. And for week 1, on the offensive side, it was Brian McCullum. And those remember, he's a freshman kicker, third generation McCullum kicker, and had a good field goal in that first game for our points that night. Week 2, it was Josh Stone, who played a pretty solid game, got our first touchdown of the season on a long touchdown run against Green Hope. And then the last game, South Johnston, was Anthony Robinson, who was just about doing everything that night, catching and receiving the ball. So it's done a great job for us. Then we also have the WWGP Norman Financial Group defensive players of the game that we select, your radio crew does. And in week 1, it was Reggie Butler. I had a good job on the defensive back side of the field. Number 2, John Wilson, the captain and senior leader here. We're going to talk about the seniors in a minute, but John always has been just a solid player each of the 3 years he's been involved with the program. And then Patrick Spearman, the last one. Patrick was had a lot of opportunities, almost had an interception that night as well. So we picked Patrick Spearman. But also we select, actually Coach does, and the staff, the Wilkinson Chevrolet Coach McClure Player of the Game. Of course, his name will be engraved in this trophy each and every week for the winner. And then this will go to the trophy case over at Southern Lee for display for the rest of the year. Week 1, it was Michael Tate Blanks, the freshman linebacker, and he did a really good job that first game.
He
and
did.
Still
he had
is.
a good coming out, game as a freshman. He led us in tackles, and he's leading the teams in tackles now. So he can only continue to get better.
Yeah, it's gonna be really anxious to see how he does over these next few years. And then in week 2 against Green Hope, it was Anthony Robinson. We talked about Anthony a minute ago. Anthony's just a well-rounded, whether it's receiver. I've seen him put him in defensive side of the ball a couple times too. And what can you say about Anthony?
Yeah, he's one of those guys that we were glad to quarantine kind of helped us get him back because he wasn't scheduled to play week 4.
Mm-hmm.
So he's one of those guys that we count on, and we trust him to do a lot within our offense and defense and in our special teams. So happy to have him back as we head into the conference.
No, exactly right. And then last game against South Johnson, it was Josh Stone, the quarterback. Josh has progressed each week, and we see it in the booth. Just he seems to be gaining a little bit more confidence each week, and obviously he was your player of the game for that game.
Yeah, he's definitely getting comfortable. We see it at practice. Some of the balls that he's throwing now, yeah, he's a guy who transitioned from wide receiver to quarterback. So you don't expect him to be that comfortable or that calm in the pocket or even just poised during the game.
Mm-hmm.
But he never gets rattled, and that's big, especially when you're playing a quarterback position. But that's extremely big for someone who never had to go out and play it before until this year. So
right.
He's only going to keep getting better as well.
Yeah, so congratulations to all of these players of the game. And, again, we'll select these each and every week and bring them to you during the Coaches Show each Tuesday night for the rest of the season. We're going to go ahead and we have this Meet the Cavs segment that we do. We're going to go ahead and revisit the senior class. We tried to have senior night back on the 10th, and, of course, the game was postponed. So we're going to go ahead and honor the seniors this week. Of course, the football team will be honored. They're also going to honor the cheerleaders and any of the band members that are seniors. I believe they're doing the football team pregame.
Yeah, football team will be pregame, and everyone else will be doing halftime.
All right, great. So this is the seniors on the Southern League Cavalier roster this year. Josh Stone, Julian Rivera Francesi, hope I say that right, Josh Freeman, Jeremiah Freeman, Nasir Blue, Joseph Cooner, Trenton Johnson, Christian Matthews, Shantique Hamilton, John Wilson, Roland Banks Morales, Damian Judd, Jabari Person, and Latrell Simmons. Those are your senior class for the Cavaliers. And, Coach, we talked before a couple weeks ago about these guys, but some of these guys, John Wilson, Damian Judd, the Freeman boys, have really done a good job over the last couple seasons with the program.
They have. You talk about the twins, Jerry and Josh. They're guys. Josh, his first year playing football was just last year.
Mm-hmm.
And he's coming to a role of being somebody that we count on in the secondary. As well was big for him. So, happy to have him and his brother Jerry, who's now transitioned to defense as well. He's now playing. He plays defense and offense now for us, and we saw how well he came down and made tackles during the scrimmage, and we was like he got to play defense this year. So happy to have those guys, like you said, Damian Judd. Got some first-time players as well coming out for their senior year, which we're happy to have. We wish we would have had them other years, but, just happy to have those guys like Latrell Simmons come out.
Mm-hmm. Jabari, another one.
Jabari is somebody who didn't play. He didn't play last year, but he's been playing, the other years that he's attended Southern. So happy to have him back out. He's a huge impact on our defensive front. So, like you say, this is a good group of seniors.
Yeah, that's great. And actually, Jabari he was hurt before, so I guess he's doing better now.
He was. He went out Green Hope game,
mm-hmm.
And he wasn't expected to be back. He didn't play South Johnson, and he wasn't expected to be back Fairmont. So now we get him back as well. So, which is big.
Yeah, that's a big advantage for us.
Yep.
So congratulations to the senior class, and look forward to seeing how they do the rest of the season. So let's go ahead and take another quick look at our opponent this coming week, Scotland County. Scotland County comes in at 4-1. Of course, it'll be our opener in the Sand Hills 3A 4A conference. They're actually the number 3 team in the 3A East Division. They've had one loss to Hoggard. They beat Hope County last week in the opener of the conference 52-6. They've only given up 52 points in the 5 games that they've played. And what's interesting when I was doing a little research, though, you look at all the teams that they've played, their opponents only have a 9-12 record. So it's kind of a mixture of teams they've played. So what are some of the things you're expecting to see from the Scots?
Well, just, being familiar with the program down there, they're going to be extremely physical. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a physical game, a physical bunch, offensively and defensively, and we just got to match it. We just got to match the physicality of them coming into the game. And, like I said, all the time, I think we were one of the faster teams. Mm-hmm. Of a lot of the opponents that we play, we just have to play fast. Mm-hmm. We just have to play fast and get off to a fast start. Like I said, I think our guys are anxious to get back out there and play and go against somebody. And we've just been saying, we'll take things one day at a time, one week at a time for 6 weeks, and let's just see how things play out. Right. It's a new start of a season. We're starting conference 0-0.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're just looking. We want to pull upsets.
Yeah.
That's what we want to come in and do. We want to be an upset team, a team that upsets. The people, the opponent that nobody really gave us a shot to win.
Sure.
So, that's what we're going in with a little chip on our shoulder, and that's, that's the approach I want our guys to have and the mentality that I want them to have going into this game.
Yeah, they have a strong program over the history, so and it's the first time they've ever played Southern Lee, I believe, and of course coming to our stadium. So we'll talk about the home game here in a minute after the break. But yeah, looking forward to it. I know you mentioned last time getting off to a quick start is a key thing. Mm-hmm. So maybe we can do the same thing like we did at Green Home.
Yeah, hopefully, because we got off to a fast start, when we was at home last time. So hopefully it's the same thing.
Yeah, we sure did. We're going to take another break and hear from our great sponsors. We'll be back with more from Coach Mike McClure right after these messages.
Coaches Show sponsors: Wilkinson Chevrolet, Domino's, Farm Bureau Tramway, Sheriff Tracy Carter, Fix-It Plumbing, Jones Printing Company, Brick Capital Video.
Back to the Coach Mike McClure Show, and Coach, again, thank you for coming in tonight. I know it's been a busier week to start this week. Now you guys are back.
It has, but it's like I said, it's good to be back. It's good to be back in the routine of things. So, always, thank you for having me.
Sure, no problem. And hey, the Cavs are going to be at home this week against Scotland County. We missed out on a home game back on the 10th, but this is going to be a home game. Scotland County comes in for the first time in the Cavalier Stadium. It's the opener, the new conference that we're in, the Sand Hills 3A, 4A for us. And Coach, I know there was something special you wanted to say about the game to get more people to come out.
Yeah, it's definitely as we mentioned earlier, senior night. So we want everybody to come out and support our seniors, but also we're doing a theme, a whiteout theme. So we're normally if we were on the road, we would wear white, but we're gonna wear white at home this week. We want all our fans to show up wearing white T-shirts, white Southern shirts, just anything, just white out the stadium in support of our seniors and in support of our football team as we, try to get some fans in the stands and some excitement in Cavalier Stadium on Friday.
Yeah, exactly. That's great. Do it. Spread the word. Get the whiteout going at the stadium. And also remember, it is senior night, so make sure you get there a little early. We'll have a 7:30 kickoff this Friday, but just make sure you get there a little early. The Cavalier football team will be recognized during the pregame ceremony, so don't miss out on that as we honor the seniors. So we hope you've enjoyed listening to the Mike McClure Coaches Show. We remind you to join us each Tuesday at 7:30 on 105.5 FM WFJA, and every Friday night prior to our games at 6:30 on 95.1 FM and 1050 AM WWGP. Our Coaches Show is also posted on the WFJA website and Facebook page each Wednesday by noon. We also remind you to check out the WFJA website, go to sports, then high school football, and you'll see choice pages to include our results page with the complete game articles posted by midnight after the games, conference standings, power rankings, schedules for all the teams in the Sand Hills 3A, 4A, and up-to-date season stats for your Southern League Cavaliers. We also want to remind you that next week's Coaches Show airtime will be on Tuesday at 7 o'clock. 30 minutes earlier than normal, right here on WFJA Sports. We are glad you have taken these opportunities to join us this season for Cavalier football. Good luck to the Cavaliers this week as they return home to host Scotland County in the Sand Hills 3A, 4A conference opener at Cavalier Stadium this Friday night with a 7:30 kickoff. We thank all our sponsors for bringing you our show tonight.
Coaches Show sponsors: Wilkinson Chevrolet, Domino's, Farm Bureau Tramway, Sheriff Tracy Carter, Fix-It Plumbing, Jones Printing Company, Brick Capital Video.
we thank you for listening to WFJA and WWGP Sports. Good night, everyone. Go Cavs.
You've been listening to the Southern Lee Cavalier Coaches Show with head coach Mike McClure and show host Mike Fowler. On behalf of all Coaches Show sponsors, we thank you for listening to tonight's program. This has been a production of WFJA and WWGP Sports.